Some of the questions I ask clients when we work together are primarily around their pain, because they come to see me for endo. And I guess as a naturopath, I ask lots and lots of questions about all the body systems to get a feel for the bigger picture of what's actually happening. So the way a naturopath works is we look at the body as a whole. So the best way to describe it is if you went to see a doctor and you had headache, they would give you pain relief to get rid of the symptom, which is the headache. However, as a naturopath, we look at all the different reasons why that could actually be happening. So we talk about hydration, we talk about whether there's any types of like triggers or anything that you're having that would cause those headaches. So it works the same way when I work with women with endometriosis, is that I'm asking lots of questions about other body systems, so their bowel, their bladder, pain in other areas, other symptoms. Painful sex is probably one of the biggest ones. Pain when going to the toilet, that can be bowel or when urinating. Migraines, just generalized pain in not generalized, but random pain in the body that's unexplained. So I had, similar to how I just mentioned, is that I was having attacks of pain that would send me to hospital, like to the emergency department, and they would do basic tests and nothing would come up, and then I'd get sent away and said, go see your GP, but nothing really showed up. And the same with migraines. I have migraines really frequently as well, and I guess no one really investigated further other than, there could be a family history of it. There was I never heard the fact that migraines and like hormones could be linked as well. And so that type of pattern went on for about 10 years until I ended up finding a doctor who actually did palpation. So they palpated my stomach and figured out that it just didn't feel right. And then that's what started the getting ultrasounds and things done, and the pathway that way to getting an official diagnosis. By palpation, I mean when you lay down on the bench and they touch your stomach and just see if there's any tender points or any pain, and they slightly push just to see if the organs move in the way that they're supposed to move and if there was any pain. And that's what I experienced when they touched the area around my ovaries. I found that there was quite a lot of pain, and then they sent me off to have an ultrasound. So the next steps in my treatment was after getting the palpation and then having an ultrasound, they found that there was the possibility of cysts, and so they sent me off I got referred to a gynecologist. And so I originally went to see one in the city, and she said, look, there is a possibility of endo, but we can't officially diagnose without having a laparoscopy. Just go off and live your life. When it gets really, really bad, then book in for surgery. And so that's what I did. And then I ended up in an ambulance the day after my sister's wedding because I had such severe pain that I had to be taken to hospital. And then after that, I started to do more investigations and realised that gynecologists aren't as specialised as what needs to be to see endo, and I went to see an advanced trained laparoscopic excision specialist and ended up having surgery with him. Yeah, I was already a personal trainer and already a naturopath. And the funny thing is that I'd learned about what endo was. However, you only learn such a small amount in college, and I just thought it was painful periods, and I never had that symptom. So there was never any, I guess, I never thought that that's what it was because I never had painful periods. And so, yeah, I was a naturopath and I was a personal trainer, and then I started to do much more investigations and around the other things that I could do. So changing in diet, supplements, changing in lifestyle, like to go low toxic, and I did a lot of those. I still do a lot of those things. Yes, there is definitely a set of principles I live by to manage my own endo. I have a team of people that I work with, so I still am under the care of the advanced trained laparoscopic excision specialist, and I see a pelvic physio, and then I regularly do chiropractic. I also look after my nutrition and take supplements and have, make sure that my gut health is all right, and have I regularly implement stress management techniques as well to manage the stress side of the disease. Because endo is a chronic disease, so the team approach works to manage it rather than just to treat it when you acutely get pain. I got diagnosed in 2015. Wish that I'd known that endo has multiple symptoms, not just painful periods. Because if I'd known that, I would have gotten treatment. Sooner. And I wish women knew that, and I wish that medical practitioners knew that as well, that it can present in other ways, and it's a multi-complex disease. It can affect all different areas. It's not just gynecological. One of the things that, when I look back, I think could have been a contributing factor was that I was on the pill for so long. So I went on the pill when I was 19 and stayed on it for over a decade without anybody saying to me, this is not how it should be, or you should give your body a chance to have its normal cycle. And because I wasn't in a place where I was trying to have a baby, then that nobody had that conversation with me. And it wasn't actually until I stopped taking the pill that a lot of my symptoms came up, because that's part of what the pill does, is it masks the symptoms but doesn't actually mask the disease. The disease still keeps growing. And I just think that if somebody had said to me, just give your body a break and see how it actually is, I probably could have been diagnosed 9 years prior or 5 years prior to what I was, and then put things in place to manage it better. It wouldn't have wreaked as much havoc on my body as what it would have if I'd known earlier. My experience with the pill was that I went on it, I didn't get nobody checked back in with me. And one of the other things that came up about that was that I suffer from migraines. So I shouldn't have ever been put on the pill that I was actually put on. And so I guess I wish I could tell people that put a plan in place, see somebody that actually has that information that can check in on you regularly, so that you're not just left to take medication for years, because that's not good. It's not good. I mentally manage the endo and the journey with a team of people. So I have specialists, and also I saw a psychologist for a little while there to help with the mental side of it, because when endo was at its worst, my mental health wasn't great. And also other practitioners, so things like kinesiology really helped, and so did EFT, tapping. I'm quite, into, I'm curious and I love learning things. So I like to learn all about different stress management techniques, meditation, kinesiology, EFT, trauma release therapy I've also done with a woman as well, which was another good tool for stress management. I just stay on top of it. I put practices in place so that I daily, or ideally daily, do things that are good for my self-care. Definitely recommend that there's stress management and self-care practices put in place. And also self-love, because if you love yourself enough, then you will fight for yourself. But if you don't feel like you're worthy, then you may not, even if it's at a subconscious level, you just let the symptoms go and think, oh, it's okay, it's not that big a deal. It is a big deal. If you're in pain, sort it out.